I think here in New York. Brother, they promised us. Be quiet.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has just accidentally revealed the next big UFC title fight, and fans are buzzing. While speaking on stage, he casually mentioned that Islam Makhachev is set to face Jack Della Maddalena in Madison Square Garden, and according to some more inside news, this fight will be the main event of UFC 322 in November 2025. Islam's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, wouldn't be too happy about the early reveal, but Khabib just laughed it off, showing he wasn't too worried about spilling the news ahead of time.
Promise us. Be quiet, please. I think the manager. He upset because I give information. But this is his deal with UFC. I don't deal with UFC. This is his problem. But we have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
This statement would definitely have shocked the UFC officials as well, and Dana White won't be happy with that. Dana White never reveals the fight early, and he was in no mood to announce this fight this early.
When can we expect the announcement for Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena, and when do you think that would be a perfect time for that fight?
We'll be announcing. Listen, if we haven't announced it yet, there's a reason. Because we try to get announcements out as quick as we can, so we'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev is excited for this fight as he wants to become a two-division champ. He also revealed recently that he is ready to fight in November.
Ислам, привет, расскажи, как ты соскучился по боям вообще, сам нет?
Ну нет, еще так не успел соскучиться. Сегодня приехал поддержать наших ребят.
Когда ждать тебя в октагоне? Скоро новости?
Ну, у нас уже на процентов 90 есть договоренность, наверное, в ноябре.
So Khabib has definitely made things difficult for Ali Abdelaziz, but the fans are surely happy after hearing this news. Khabib also talked about Islam Makhachev's chances against Jack Della Maddalena and named JDM as the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev had faced so far. He viewed Maddalena as a bigger threat than Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria, or anyone else, highlighting his size, power, boxing, and solid grappling. Khabib said getting Islam ready for Maddalena would be more difficult and exciting than preparing him for Ilia.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в ислама карьере. Мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Вот. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
Javier Mendez also sided with Khabib Nurmagomedov in calling Jack Della Maddalena the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev has ever faced. He emphasized this wouldn't be an easy fight and described it as one of the biggest responsibilities he and Khabib have taken on as coaches. Mendez added that if Islam makes it look easy, it would come down to flawless preparation and seizing key moments. He gave full credit to Jack and his team for being mentally ready for the challenge.
Khabib recently said that's Islam's toughest test. Do you agree?
I'm going to have to 1,000,000% agree with Khabib. I think this is our toughest test, and this is Khabib and my biggest responsibility is to make sure we get Islam on tip-top shape and ready to do what we think and we believe he will do, and that's win. But it's not going to be easy. And if we make it look easy, it's because we were properly prepared, and Jack just happened to give us what we needed. But this is by no means a walkover fight. No means. This is a really, really tough fight, and we have immense respect for Jack in their team and what they can do. And so we're prepared, mentally now. Physically, we'll got 2 months before we start camp. We'll go then, but right now we're mentally prepared for what Jack brings, and he brings a lot.
On the other hand, Arman Tsarukyan is currently busy trolling Ilia Topuria after the lightweight champ refused to give him a title fight. Arman responded to Ilia Topuria's reluctance to face him by referencing the quote from Islam Makhachev at the UFC Performance Institute about being ready to fight anytime, anywhere. He joked that maybe Dana White should put up that same reminder in the bathroom for Ilia, so he remembers to stay true to the champion's mindset. Arman saw Topuria's talk of vacating the belt as a clear sign of avoiding avoiding a legitimate challenge. Arman Tsarukyan fired another shot at Ilia Topuria on Instagram, mocking him for trying to imitate Conor McGregor while dodging real threats in the division. He accused Ilia of damaging the image of what a true champion should be, pointing out that real title holders don't shy away from facing the top contender. Arman Tsarukyan said, "Who wants to let Ilia know he's not McGregor and that he's making all the champs look bad? Champs fight the #1 contender, but this is the same guy who thinks he's the BMF. How do you say Pesi in Spanish?" Meanwhile, Dan Hooker believes many top lightweights are finding ways to avoid fighting Arman Tsarukyan. He doesn't take it personally, but sees Arman as one of the toughest challenges in the division. In his view, fighters give public excuses, but the real reason is Arman's ability to make opponents look bad in the cage.
He is a very good fighter, and now all those big name guys they've got a good excuse to not fight him, you know, like Ilya said he's not going to fight him. The UFC says that he needs one more. That's always the fight I want, and not because he's a prick and I hate him, but because I genuinely think that he's the hardest fight, and all those big name guys have like an excuse to not fight him, because I think he is the best at winning fights. Like, he's not necessarily the most dangerous fighter. Like, Oliver is very dangerous, Gage is very dangerous. I think he's the best at winning fights, and so a lot of these guys have a justifiable reason to avoid fighting him.
Dan Hooker shared his thoughts on how the UFC might book Ilia Topuria against someone like Paddy Pimblett. He suggested it wouldn't be the most competitive matchup, but from a business angle, it made perfect sense. In his view, fighting Paddy would mean less risk and a bigger payday compared to facing tough contenders like Arman Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje. Hooker figured that if Ilia was thinking smart, he'd choose the easier fight that still brings in the most money.
The funny thing is they might actually do Paddy, which is like an absolute piss take, where he fights Chandler and then gets the title shot. Is like an absolute... But who cares at the end of the day? Like, he's not going to hold the belt for very long. Like, and also, if you're in Ilya's shoes, like, logically he should be fighting Arman, but he's not going to, because Arman's a really tough fighter. And if I'm sitting there with the title and I'm getting pay-per-view points and I have to fight Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, or Paddy Pimblett, well, I would take the hardest guy. But if you're smart, all right. You take Paddy Pimblett. You're going to get the most money because there's a lot of animosity. You're going to get the most money and the worst fighter. So it's like a win-win situation.
Similarly, Michael Bisping and Paul Felder both expressed disappointment in Ilia Topuria for avoiding a fight with Arman Tsarukyan. Bisping, while acknowledging he's a fan of Ilia and respects his talent, questioned why Topuria would step back after previously agreeing. Felder took a harsher stance, calling out champions who chase only big paydays and argued that Ilia is already a star. There's no excuse to dodge contenders like Arman.
I'm the biggest fan of Ilia, right? I love how he carries himself. Every interaction I've had, he's so respectful. He's obviously a monster inside the octagon. He's technically brilliant. He's a class act. He's awesome. He's awesome. But why is he saying that? I think he's just saying it to get under his skin. But do you think he actually... I mean, he said he would. And we got to hold him to his word.
Yeah, can only take him at his word at this point. But I hate it. I saw that and I was like, come on, man. Here we go. Here we go again. Now you got a champion who's just looking for the biggest thing. And it's like, look, the UFC is not going to try to put you in a position that's not going to be a big thing. And I think you're getting into a position, Ilia, where you are the thing. They don't need the other guy to necessarily be the thing. You're the guy that people want to see. So you could be fighting some kid they pull off the damn street and people would tune in to watch it.
Paul Felder expressed frustration over Ilia Topuria, turning down a fight with Arman Tsarukyan. He criticized the trend of champions avoiding tough contenders and said if Topuria truly thinks Arman isn't on his level, the only way to prove it is by facing him.
I mean, the guy's the #1 contender, and to say that you would rather relinquish the belt than fight him is... Come on, man, we're getting a little carried away. And we've talked about this before, where these guys in this generation of fighters, when they get to this top position now, are so willing to jump around weight classes and try to deny fighting guys. It's like, that's not how it works, man. If the guy's #1 and the UFC says, this is the guy, you're the champ, you're holding that belt, that's who you fight. I mean, it's just...
I agree.
If you're the best... and he's not on your level and all this kind of stuff, then prove it. Just go out there and prove it. I hate that.
Former featherweight Marcos Damata praised Arman Tsarukyan as a serious threat to Ilia Topuria. While he respected Ilia's toughness and talent, he highlighted Arman's well-rounded skill set and sharp fight IQ as major factors. In his view, Arman's evolution from a grappling specialist to a dangerous striker makes him a more complete opponent than anyone Ilia has faced to date.
Because in my opinion, in my heart, I think Arman can make it very hard for Ilia. You know, I think he can beat Ilia. I think he will beat Ilia. You know, oh, you train Arman, of course, yeah. But I believe in Arman. I think he has the ability, the tools, you know, to beat a guy like Ilia. Oh, he's a very heavy-handed guy, unbelievable guy. Ilia is a great champion. All the abilities that Ilia has, he's amazing. He was hired by the UFC because of his grappling. And then all of a sudden he started knocking people out. You know, so no, we respect Ilia's grappling, but I think Arman's a different level. You know, I think Arman has the ability. He's better than Charles. He's better than all these guys that Ilia fought.
Marcos Damata assumed that the UFC might postpone Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria to preserve a potential super fight between Ilia and Islam Makhachev. He floated the idea of Ilia fighting someone like Paddy Pimblett next, while Islam faces Jack Della Maddalena. If both come out on top, it could lead to a massive showdown, with Arman needing one more win to stake his claim.
They put Arman now with Ilia. Then the big super fight, Ilia-Islam, is off, and he beats Ilia, and that's super off. So I'm not sure, you know, maybe they're going to put Pimblett to fight Ilia or somebody else to fight Ilia to get a good win. Wait until Islam fights Jack, see what happens. Hopefully they both win. There's your big super fight of the year next year, you know. And in the meantime, Arman needs to fight maybe one more time, you know, to cement himself as the #1 contender. That's what we got to do, whatever.
Arman Tsarukyan made it clear that a fight with Ilia Topuria will happen, no matter what Ilia says. He dismissed Topuria's attempts to avoid the matchup and expressed full confidence in beating him, claiming his grappling and complete skill set would shut Ilia down when they eventually meet.
I'm curious, tell us more about how you see a matchup with Topuria playing out.
I'm just take him down and hold him and just maul him. And I just finish him on the ground, and he's not gonna able to escape from me.
The wrestling and the takedowns are the key then.
Yeah, and my kicks, my wrestling, my ground and pound, and my strengths. Boxing, he's good on one thing, on the boxing, but me, wrestling, kicks, ground and pound, and like a control time.
So the more well-rounded fighter you believe is
I mean,
yourself.
4 versus 1, who's gonna win? I mean,
sure.
If you're not gonna stay on his boxing distance, how he's gonna beat you? I don't know.
Arman Tsarukyan shared that if the UFC doesn't give him a direct title shot, he expects to be matched with Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, or Dan Hooker. He views all three as favorable matchups, calling them easy money, though he did acknowledge Gaethje's power and wrestling experience.
Where do you see, obviously ideally you fight for the belt next, but if that doesn't happen, how do you see the chips falling? What's the most probable outcome you think they're going to offer you next?
I mean, if it's not title fight, it's probably Gaethje, or Pimblett or Hooker. I don't know.
How do you see the fight going with Gaethje? Like, how do you match up against everybody? Yeah, go ahead.
With Gaethje, it's a good fight. He's a good striker, but he used to be wrestler, so now he strikes more. But I mean, it's good fight for me. All of them is good fight for me, so it's easy money.
Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan also gives his prediction for Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, calling it a tough matchup. He praises Jack's boxing and defensive skills, but believes Islam's pressure and grappling will be the deciding factors. In his view, Islam can take Jack down and control him on the ground to secure the win.
It's a tough fight. Maddalena, he's a tough dude, good boxing, good defense, but I believe Islam has a good wrestling, and he could take him down and hold him submit him.
Craig Jones also shares that the matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena could be extremely challenging. He hints that Islam might run into unexpected problems dealing with Jack's unique style. Jones also points out that physical differences could play a bigger role than many expect, and suggests the outcome might even impact Islam's future plans.
How do you think the fight against Islam goes?
I think it's a super difficult fight. Obviously, he's faced Volk twice, so the first one very competitive, and now it's facing a guy that's best scrambling ability, period, in all of MMA. I think that's what Bilal struggled with. So I think the size difference is going to be quite a lot than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground, how much Islam struggled with him. Jack beats Islam, puts Islam in a difficult position. Does he now go back down to fight Ilya after he loses?
Luke Rockhold views Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena as a tough and exciting matchup. He names Islam, Topuria, and JDM as his current UFC favorites. While he respects Jack's wrestling, he gives the edge to Islam due to his lifelong grappling experience. Rockhold points out that JDM's size could present problems depending on how Islam adjusts to welterweight. Having trained with Islam, he says the size gain is noticeable, and he's curious to see how it plays out.
Do you see him beating JDM to win that welterweight title?
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. JDM's he's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Moreover, former welterweight champion Bilal Muhammad picked Islam Makhachev to beat Jack Della Maddalena by using his wrestling to control the fight. He praised Islam's discipline and ability to stick to a game plan, something Bilal admitted he struggled with in their own matchup. Although he believed he won 3 rounds, he acknowledged it wasn't convincing enough. Bilal reflected on how easy it is to drift during striking exchanges, and said each fight brings a new lesson.
How do you think Islam versus JDM goes down?
Honestly, I think Islam probably take it down. Like, Islam's wrestling really good. Like, even with me, I like really committed to it. I took it down. Their team's so good at like hacking at game plan and sticking to it.
You said that you kind of abandoned the game plan a little. You think if you got a rematch, you would change the game plan a bit?
No, I mean, honestly, I think I won three rounds, but you have to go out there and make it more clear. When you get into the cage and you're fighting, right? You get into that, like, all right, I feel like striking. Let's keep going. I was doing well with it. Let's keep going. If your coach is trying to get you to focus on the game plan again, it's like, nah, man, I'm doing well with it. You're thinking you're doing better than you are. Every fight, you gain something from it, right? This fight, I gained something from it.
Max Holloway also reacted to the buzz around a possible Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, saying fans shouldn't be quick to assume the outcome. While he praised Islam's skill set and dominance, he pointed out that Jack has the tools to make it competitive. Holloway noted that if the matchup happens, it could be a lot closer than people expect.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, you know, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is going to find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's going to be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So, I mean, he is, you know, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason, so you got to respect that. But, you know, don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Similarly, the MMA guru views the Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight as a tactical battle early on, with Jack defending takedowns and landing clean shots to keep the crowd engaged. However, he believes Islam's ability to adjust mid-fight will be the turning point. In his breakdown, Islam times a clinch entry perfectly, lands a body knee that slows Jack down, and from there, overwhelms him with pressure to secure a second-round TKO.
Who you got? Ilya, Islam.
I've got Makhachev.
I got Makhachev as well.
And I've got Makhachev second round TKO with a knee in the
Oh, yeah, you going bad rounds.
Yeah, I think he'll shoot a couple takedowns. Ilya will stuff it. Ilya will catch him a few times and people will go, ooh and ah. And then when they clash again, I think Makhachev will go grab him. Ilya will think, oh, he's shooting again. Tie clinch, bang, body, knee to the head. Ilya's all of a sudden stumble, downhill from there. I think he beats Oliveira with a body shot.
Meanwhile, Merab Dvalishvili's coach, John Wood, shares his thoughts on a potential clash between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev. He finds the matchup intriguing, especially with Jack already having experience against similar styles. Wood sees Jack holding an edge in striking, but believes the outcome hinges on whether he can consistently stop Islam's takedowns.
I like it. I think that's a great fight. I feel like if Jack can keep building upon what he did in his, in against Bilal, I mean, he's seen that style now from a champion, and it's very similar to what Islam's going to do. I think Islam does it a little bit better. So as long as Jack is improving and getting better and his confidence is there, it's very interesting. I feel like on the feet, I think Jack's got him on the feet. It's just that obviously if that takedown defense can hold up, that's the thing.
UFC bantamweight Mario Bautista is also backing Jack Della Maddalena to defeat Islam Makhachev. He points to Jack's strong takedown defense and ability to avoid being controlled on the ground as key factors. Bautista also sees Jack as the more dangerous striker and believes that if he can keep the fight standing, he has a legitimate shot at pulling off the upset.
I'm gonna go with JDM on that one. I think he's really hard to hold down. Bilal got him down a few times, but he was able to get back up. And then JDM just has great striking. I think he's better than Islam in the striking department. So if he can keep it standing and just kind of make it similar to how he fought Bilal, I think he can get a win over Islam.
So this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.